I was hoping that you might share with us some examples of how you've used disconfirming evidence to change some of your important, determinedly held beliefs.
Well, of course, being able to recognize when you're wrong is a godsend. If you take a good bit of the Munger fortune came from liquidating things we originally purchased because we were wrong. Of course you have to learn to change your mind when you're wrong. And most people just try and cherish whatever idiotic notion they already have because they think if it's their notion, it must be good. And I think, of course, you want to be re-examining what you previously thought, particularly when disconfirming evidence comes through. And there's hardly anything more important than being rational and objective. Just think of all the dumb things you can do in life. Think of the brilliant people who are just utterly brilliant, who do some of the dumbest things. Most of us can think of our own action in the last year or two, and we can all pull up an example or two. It's hard to be rational.
It's been a while since you've had the Psychology of Human Misjudgment as a talk, and I was wondering if there are any additions you would have that you've seen more recently. And the second part is, you've mentioned how important being rational is throughout your life. Can you walk us through, aside from the tips and tricks that you have, what steps we can take to become more rational?
Well, it's a long process. I don't think anybody just flashes into it. Rationality is something you get slowly and it has a variable result, but it's better than not having it. You can just see how awful it is when people get into these furies of resentment and anger and sure they're right about everything. It's hard to know exactly how human civilization ought to be organized. And in my own life, I've often reflected about how well the system has worked. And what I concluded was that the social safety net is just come up enormously as the world has gotten more prosperous. That was a very desirable thing, and that the Republicans who always opposed it were wrong. And I've also, the Democrats that always wanted to push the safety net too far ahead, that was also wrong. And that, by and large, what we have is about right. And we wouldn't have got it from either party alone. If either party had been totally in control in a one-party government, we wouldn't have had the result that we have, which is close to right. And I think power does corrupt. I think too much power, part of the genius of the American system is no one person gets too much power. If either party had all the power, I don't think American civilization would have worked as well as it had with this ebb and flow. And I don't know what the exact right safety net is. I don't think it matters that much. I think the United States would be about as happy if it had 5% more or 5% less safety net.